All right, let's get into one of the most fascinating and kind of creepy secrets of the aging process. It's a phenomenon called cellular senescence, and it's happening inside all of us.
It seriously sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's a real biological thing. Deep inside our bodies, we have these cells that have basically stopped doing their job, but they refuse to die. And yeah, scientists have a nickname for them that is just perfect: zombie cells.
Okay, so what exactly are these zombie cells? Let's peel back the spooky nickname and look at the actual science behind them.
So the official scientific term for this is cellular senescence. You can think of it like a cell that just enters permanent retirement. It's not dead, not at all, but it's not dividing anymore or contributing in a positive way. It just hangs around, lingering.
So, how does a perfectly normal cell go rogue like this? Well, there are two main ways. First, our cells have a kind of built-in punch card for how many times they can divide. It's called the Hayflick limit. Once they hit that limit, they're done. The second trigger is just too much DNA damage. If a cell gets so banged up that it can't function right, it slams on the brakes to avoid making things worse.
But here's the twist. That act of slamming on the brakes, it's actually a good thing, at least at first. In fact, you could say cellular senescence has a pretty heroic origin story. Think about it, it's like a biological bodyguard. When a cell's DNA gets scrambled, the absolute last thing you want is for that cell to keep making copies of itself. That's a fast track to cancer. Senescence shuts that whole process down, stopping a potentially damaged cell from ever becoming a tumor. So especially when we're young, this process is an absolutely crucial defense. It's a biological stop sign, plain and simple. And it protects us from what could be a total disaster inside our bodies.
But this is where the hero's story takes a really dark turn, because senescence is a classic double-edged sword. In the short term, it's a protective shield, but over the long term, these same heroic cells become toxic saboteurs.
You see, as we get older, our immune systems get a little less efficient. They're not as quick to clear out these old, retired cells, so they start to pile up. And that's when a good cell becomes a really, really bad neighbor.
And these zombie cells have a weapon. They don't just sit there quietly. They actively pump out this toxic mix of inflammatory signals. Scientists call it SASP, which is short for senescence-associated secretory phenotype.
A really great way to think about SAS is to imagine it as biological gossip. These zombie cells are just constantly spewing out bad vibes, creating a toxic environment and spreading inflammation to all the healthy, functioning cells around them.
And this isn't just some abstract problem. It has real-world physical consequences. This chronic, low-level inflammation they cause is directly linked to a lot of the signs of aging we all know: wrinkled skin, creaky joints from osteoarthritis, inflamed blood vessels, and even neurodegeneration. But here's the good news. Science is not taking this lying down. This discovery has launched a whole new frontier in medicine: the hunt for a way to fight back against these zombie cells.
And the reason for all this excitement, it comes from these incredible studies on mice. Get this. When researchers figured out how to remove these senescent cells, they were able to extend the lifespan of the animals by a whopping 25 to 30%. And they weren't just living longer, they were healthier too.
This has kicked off a full-blown race to develop an entirely new class of drugs called Senolytics. Their job is simple but brilliant. They're designed to be like little smart bombs that find and destroy zombie cells while leaving all the healthy cells alone. And you know, this isn't just a theory anymore. There are already compounds in early studies and trials. Things like a drug combination called dasatinib and quercetin, and another one called fisetin, which is actually a natural compound you can find in things like strawberries.
So the big idea behind all of this senolytic therapy is actually pretty simple. It's all about cleaning house. You periodically clear out the old junk cells so that you make room for new, healthy ones to grow and thrive. Okay, so these drugs sound amazing, but they're still on the horizon, which brings us to the big question. What can we do about this right now? Well, it turns out we have a pretty powerful first line of defense.
And this might be the most important takeaway from all of this. While senolytics are the future, our day-to-day lifestyle is the most powerful tool we have today to help our bodies manage this buildup of zombie cells.
And it's pretty straightforward. First, exercise. It actually encourages your immune system to go on patrol and clear out these old cells. Second, a healthy diet, particularly one full of polyphenols and antioxidants, helps protect your cells from getting damaged in the first place.
And finally, just managing your overall health, getting quality sleep, reducing stress, that helps keep that body-wide inflammation down.
Which leaves us with a pretty mind-bending final thought. We started this journey seeing these cells as heroes, protecting us from cancer, then as villains driving the aging process. Now, we're on the verge of being able to just take out the cellular trash. So could this simple act of clearing out old cells be one of the biggest keys to staying healthier for longer? All the research seems to be pointing in that very exciting direction.